Reagan, and today I'm here to bring you a review video of The Yoga of Max's Discontent by Karan Bahaj. Now, I was sent this for review by the author and the publisher, and I'm working with them for this video. So this novel follows our main character Max, who's kind of the epitome of the American dream. He grew up in a very, very poor neighborhood in New York City, went to a fantastic college, got a fantastic job on Wall Street, but then he finds himself, after his mother passes away, that he's not satisfied with life, and in fact he feels like he needs to go on a journey to kind of find himself, find enlightenment, find some sort of truth that is beyond his existence in New York City. So he packs up everything, goes to India, and kind of looks to become a yogi. Before I even get into like the nitty-gritty of the review, I just want to say I absolutely flew through this book. Like, I sat down and probably read this in a couple of sittings, and I was honestly a little hesitant going into this because I don't really consider myself a very spiritual person. I'm not really that's just not something that's really in my character, so this was definitely kind of a thing that was new to me to read, and I really appreciated it. I found the story to be very interesting and also engrossing. We're following this man who, in a lot of ways, most people can see themselves in. Yes, he's been through a lot more difficult things than myself, but just the pressures of real life, this desire to maybe seek something a little greater than just the daily grind of existing, is something I think a lot of people can relate to. So I found Max to be a very likable main character. He had a great voice and narrative to listen and follow through. The aspects of this book I really enjoyed was the setting and actually like the yogi perspective. So like I said, our main character Max goes to India and first starts in like the Himalayan foothills in search of a teacher to teach him like the ways of a yogi, which involves like meditation and yoga and all things like that, like joining your energy together and things along those lines. As someone who is not from India and knows absolutely nothing about yoga, this book I think did a really great job painting a picture of not only the people, the places, the smells, like everything about the setting to me felt very realistic, which makes sense as our author grew up in the foothills of the Himalayas, so I felt like his real life stories and perspectives about this area definitely bled through and felt real in this story, as well as like the yogi perspective. Throughout this entire novel, our main character is learning about this philosophy, this way of life and things like that, and I knew nothing about it going in. And so, but however, it was very easy to follow along, and I think the author using the device of a novice was very helpful because he didn't know anything either. So he was learning, we were learning, we're all learning. And again, the author is an aspiring yogi as well, so again, he kind of has the clout and the perspective to actually write about that, which I appreciated. Again, reading this book really stuck with me and actually really made me think after I finished reading it or while I was reading it. And definitely don't have this book turn away from you if you're not a spiritual person. Again, I am not, and I still really enjoyed it. And I think the most interesting thing about Max and his journey is that everyone is going to interpret and look at his progress and this character differently, because you kind of put yourself in his place in a lot of ways to kind of figure out how you would deal with certain obstacles and situations that he comes to. So for me, when I was reading this character, as much as he became selfless and more involved in the yogi lifestyle and kind of separated himself from the world and just kind of focused on like just the necessities of his existence, the more he did that, for me personally, the more I found him to be a more selfish character, which I thought was an interesting perspective. Another thing I really appreciated about this book purely is the perspective. This was written by a man who was raised in the Himalayas and also meditated in the Himalayas, so it kind of has this different perspective that's not very Western. Literally, our main character is shedding this idea of the individual and moving towards this collective, which is honestly a thing you don't see very often in Western literature, because, you know, we're all special snowflakes and we all need to, you know, be individual and stand out and be ourselves. And it was just interesting to see a novel that was very focused on an individual's journey into joining into energy and kind of not caring about being an individual anymore in some ways, and I thought that was really cool. Anyway, ultimately I really liked this book. I found the journey to be fascinating, this character's decisions and his everything he was willing to go through to find this inner peace, this enlightenment, I thought was fascinating, and I ended up really liking this book. I gave it a 4, like a 4.25 out of 5. I highly recommend it if you're interested in like a journey-esque book. This is the first spiritual journey book I've ever read, and it definitely offered me a new like perspective, outlook on something I've just never even thought about, which is something I appreciated too. So yeah. Alrighty guys, that is my review on the Yoga of Max's Discontent. I will link all the stuff about the book down below, including the author's website if you're interested in pre-ordering or anything along those lines. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon with another video soon. Goodbye!